The organization LGBTQ Well-being says the monkeypox outbreak is being used to stigmatize gay, bisexual and other men who have sex with men. Joining me now is Outs Marketing and Communications Consultant Luiz De Barros, who speaks to us from Johannesburg. Luiz, good morning to you. You've already issued a statement on this particular issue, and I suspect it has to do specifically with the remarks that have been made by the WHO's Secretary General about this disease possibly being spread by men who sleep with other men. Your statement is saying this is a warning that the LGBTQ plus stigma, this could link monkeypox to people who are gay or... It is worrying, is it not, Luiz? Let me start off the question by suggesting to you that there are countries where being gay is not something that is readily accepted. Now, with the comments of the WHO's SG stating what he has said, is that likely to put the LGBTQI plus community in trouble?
Good morning. Well, that's our concern. So, it's clear that a number of cases, initial cases, were identified among gay, bisexual, and men who have sex with men. But that is, outbreaks happen within various communities all the time. They happen within heterosexual communities, and those diseases are never labeled, straight diseases. So what we're afraid of is that something similar as what happened with the early days of HIV/AIDS in the United States, when it was sort of named a gay disease, and gay men were shunned, discriminated against because of that, and were seen as spreaders of disease. And so we're seeing the start of that on social media, which is very worrying. The hashtag, for example, gaypox, to describe the disease, has been used online. So it's very worrying that, again, instead of dealing with the medical facts and trying to resolve the issue, a lot of people are trying to attribute blame to a community which is already vulnerable.
Do you think that this is perhaps, now that this statement has been issued by the Secretary General of the WHO, do you think that one of the key elements to be done now is to interrogate the science, to say, prove that indeed the statements you have made are credible?
Well, I think that's one aspect of it. So sure, I mean, the outbreak is still unfolding, and as you mentioned, there seems to be a sense that that monkeypox has been spreading for some time. But regardless of whether the disease was initially spread by men who have sex with men, that is no reason to sort of stigmatize a community. A disease is not a moral issue. It's not an issue to judge people or communities on. It's a medical issue. And as I mentioned, diseases appear in all kinds of communities, and unfortunately, they're used to stigmatize communities when the community is a minority or it's an other. But it's never used to stigmatize people when it's in the majority. So we really just want to focus on the fact that let's tackle this disease and this outbreak, and not look at stigmatizing people.
Yeah, you and I, Luiz, are having this conversation right now in a very calm fashion, but communities out there already might be panic that is spreading, and in particular, people who are gay might be looked at very differently. The kind of message or the kind of panic that this statement is likely to trigger in communities, what would your message be to those communities?
Well, to those communities, it would be that, again, a disease is something that we need to tackle rationally. And it's not a disease is not a reason to attack or discriminate or stigmatize a community. we need to get away from this idea of finding blame for these kinds of things. Diseases happen and occur, and there are outbreaks of diseases all the time. And it's not a justification to stigmatize or lump a group under a particular banner. I think just don't focus on blame. Just be concerned about tackling the issue, and that is the disease.
Perhaps let's end the conversation with what you touched on earlier, and that is the HIV/AIDS issue. When it was first discovered, there was a particular stigma that was attached to gay people. What kind of lessons should we draw from that particular period?
Well, I think it's interesting that to some extent we didn't draw lessons from that. I mean, if you look at what happened with COVID-19, when reports started coming out of Asia that this disease was being spread around the world, you saw that people from the Asian community in the United States, for example, were actually physically attacked because of the stigmatization. So sadly, it seems that we often don't learn from these things. But I'm hoping that perhaps it won't be as widespread as what happened during the HIV epidemic. And I'm hoping that also with what's happened with COVID, we've all become so much more aware of diseases, of viruses, of how they spread, and how at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we all just want to be healthy.
Luiz De Barros, thank you very much for your time and indeed your timely warning around this matter. He is with the organization Out, LGBTQ+, and the marketing and communications consultant there.